وكفى السلام عليكم همين في الجولة دي الهكذا هذا برنامجك أمراء عالمك ورك جرام ولبا كمدها كورين يولبا تضباطن ديار بالنوع الدوليها الله ينكويرتي موسكو ويش كساعد وجه هذا في حالة قلق الأجل برنامج كسين كاينا قضبط كلام برنامج كسين كاي ولبا كمدها كي استما رئيس الوزراء بريتن ولبا وسنا بوغشك السيادة دون مقالة واشنطن دي سي ودنك أمريكا جو بايدن يمي لكل مدونة جماعة دررتي أنا بوغشتان دياس برنامج كسين كاينا قضبط كلام سين هاي ولبا كمدها إسرائيل يهرب مالن ولبا تقيمية كجيستي حرية مركزية كسوب سنتين دوين أوكيالان كونفورتا غزة وندقنين دad بوكتاله ومركزية تقيمها إسرائيل والكبلان أفرتن قفود يكجيريودين وكأمودين قفود كلنا كداوعمن برنامج كسين كاينا قضبط كلام سين هاي وبرنامج كجود بيولي بكمدها عسكري كترسن عيدا كإسرائيليين تيولي وسكسوين حد كم مصر لشيء نسد و ديرو أيسني أما بابور لمرسي meelase oo la sheegay in markaasiitus ka dhaawacay barnaamijka yahsiin ku gudbiyana qodobadan iyo warar kale oo ila sirdoon wax bandhigahan weerarada Iiraan ee Israa'iiliyiinta ka eedan iyo barnaamijka muro caalamka siin kahayna وهي برنامج كاميرا عالم كلا درتنا قضبكم كوري برنامج كولي بوا يوكرين يولي تضباطن دياردود نوع الدوليها لهاين iyo markaasiyad weerartii saacadoogi hore ee geega caasimada Ruushka ee Moscow iyo markaasiyadii nawaaxisha iyadoo la sheegay in markaas hal qof ka amoodi burbur hadeeri dhismada trade oo deganaayo oo kiyaala degmada Ramskuye ee Moscow ka tirsan 130 kilomitir jarta xafiiska Vladimir Putin ee dhismaha Kremlin dhamashada iyo burburka deeri waa dhismaha iyo markaasiytii way la degan waliba la sheegay in ka dhalatay diyaarad duuliyahan lahayna oo la sheegay in haridii nidaamka difaaca Ruushka gantaal wali in haridii sida la hakiyigdi doqa Moscow Andriya Varboyo weerarkan waliba muujiyay in Ukraine iyo hormariyay nidaamsha diyaaradaha duuliyahan lahayna iyagoona hadda dalbadahan gantaalada ridida dheer in la ogolaasiyo weerarka jeesidan gudaha Moscow iyo kaabyaalka Ruushka taasoo ka jarta dhamashada ka dhidi Moscow in iyo biyaas tilmaamxun iyo in Ruushku kari weerar weyn oo ka jeesto Ukraine waa gudaha Ukraine dagaalkan sidii sana ka dambeysay darari haduu waliba uu sagalahay khadkan ku xun barnaamijka muro caalamka la dirtan ra'iisul wasaaraha Britain كير استعمى يولي بوس جماعة بوقضها واشنطن دي سي جو بايدن والله كان مريكان كيال كلهم دونا ولا نكود دهوات دونا قضبة حساسية والحريرة قيمان تكيدن هدية تين ويوكرين وأقول هذا إني هذا كنت على الرديد الدار سي أن كنت جده روشكا تان هدية عن سحيان ولي بكده أنت إن مركزيتي أرو كرم وجيكال الدجال كيوكرين يوروشكا حلا ديارها الدولية الله إن يوكرين يو هربتان مركزيتي دلين caasimada Ruushka ee Moscow wana ka dileen lama qofood oo bilaan iyo awlaad yar sidii waa sidoo xaqii doqa Moscow barnaamijka muro caalamka Warteelka Arlaadi la dirtay Israa'iiliyiinta waliba iyo geega ee hiraabti hor doqaymiga jeesidan xira ku soo bisan teendooyin oo ka taala koonfurta Gaza iyadoo deganaan dad bogtaale oo korooran doqaymaha Israa'iiliyiinta doqaymisho hiraabtan waliba ka amoodaan 40 qofood walana ka dhaawacmeen 6 qofood iyadoo khasaarahan taasi ka badada kora saacad walba sidii hakiigdi waxda caafimaadka Gaza Donald Trump iyo waliba ka eeday kala dhantaalow state ama kala dhantaalow maamul ama dawladeed walana markaasiytii eedeyntan hajiriyaan xisbiga dimuqraadiyiinta press conference walaal gordo ama shir jaraa'id iyo geego gobadi arma xasaasiya kala ka daway
So she wrote this beautiful story and about I don't know, years later, no police reports, no anything. Years later, the same person they called up, did you attack at Mar-a-Lago this woman, this writer, whatever her name is? And she was a witness in a case. Her and Leeds were the two witnesses, only two witnesses. Did you attack her? I said, who is she? And they said, she writes for People magazine. I said, I don't know anything about the lady. If I had a story long ago, years before, about people, but it was a very nice story. So I don't know. It has to be made up because I don't know what you're talking about. It turned out that the same lady that wrote this beautiful story years later said I attacked her. Now, think of this. Oh, and she said the butler knew everything. The old expression, the butler did it, right? Very famous in crime stories. Well, the butler was Tony Senecal, worked for me for a long time. He was retired at that time. That was years later. He retired. He was retired when this hoax came out. And what happened is he totally confirmed my story. And he didn't even work for me anymore. He passed away a couple of years ago, a good man. He said, the woman was crazy. It never happened. I was the one that served her whatever she was drinking. And I was there. And nothing ever happened. But you don't need the butler. All you have to do is read the story. Think of this. A woman comes into Mar-a-Lago, interviews me about a love story about my wife and myself. And during that interview, I attacked her and pushed her up against the wall violently. Okay? And then she leaves and she writes a perfect story. A perfect story. She doesn't mention the event. Again, there's nothing on file at all. Zero. There was no complaints. There were no complaints to People magazine. There was no witness. There was nothing. Yeah, well, there was a witness, the butler, and he's already said everything. He's already told the story. Because this story, likewise, like Leeds, this story has followed me around. I could go through many other stories outside of this. You know, it's very funny. When you're rich and famous, you get a lot of people come up with a lot of stories. But you're writers, and some of you are legitimate writers, and some of you aren't. Some of you are fake news, and some of you are real news. But put yourself in my position. I'm running for president, and I have all these cases all of a sudden come out. And they're fake cases, and they report back to DOJ. And you have Lisa Monaco, one of the people at DOJ who I saw the other day talking about the Russia hoax. And yet she's friends with Andrew Weissman and that whole group and crew, who should be sued, by the way, because they're not a charity. All they are is a political organization that goes after Trump for the last 8 years. I mean, he's a sick person that runs that, too. But Lisa Monaco is in the Department of Justice, but she's a Andrew Weissman person who's been after me for years. So far, he's failed. And he's having a heart attack because I'm leading in the polls, I guess. If you look at the Nate Silver, very respected guy. I don't know him, but he has me up by a lot. So let's say we're leading, or let's say we're tied, or let's say what difference. I'm in the race. It's between two people, but I think we're leading by a lot because the opponent refuses to do an interview because she can't talk. And they're not going to skate through it. I'm not going to have a Marxist president. The people are getting it. So we go down to court today to talk about this case is a scam. And all I can say is that I never met the woman other than this picture, which could have been AI generated. I don't know. Showed up out of nowhere, but it's fine. Nice picture with her husband, and lots of other people are online. It's a celebrity line. But never met her, never touched her, never had anything to do with her. The other thing is I was very famous then. If I would have walked into Bergdorf Goodman, the department store that she said, everybody would have said, oh, there's Trump. And it would have been, at that time, on page 6. Page 6 was the equivalent of today's internet. And it would have been a big story if I would have walked into that store, gone into a dressing room, and supposedly you know what to her. Never happened. Never happened. Total phony story. And I feel sad that I have to come up here and explain it. I have all this legal talent, but legal talent cannot overcome rigged judges. They can't overcome a 4% Republican area. And I'm disappointed in my legal talent, I'll be honest with you. They're good. They're good people. They're talented people. Today at the trial, they didn't mention the dress. So the Monica Lewinsky type dress was a big part of the trial. Big part of the trial. I said, why didn't you mention that? And I heard there was a dress involved. And I wasn't frightened at all because I did nothing with her. Never touched this woman, saw this woman, had no idea who she was. But they have a dress, sir. I said, so what? Well, sir, it's very sir. They used that dress to try and intimidate me. They used that dress with the public. That dress was such a famous dress. It was Monica Lewinsky, part 2, the dress. And the judge wanted it for trial. And it was going to go into trial. And then they found out there was nothing on the dress, which I knew. And then the judge wouldn't allow it to be used. So they used it as a cudgel. They used it as a hammer over my head. And then the judge, when he heard that it showed totally negative, the judge wouldn't allow us to use it at trial. Then there was an Anderson Cooper interview where she said essentially, no, he didn't rape me. She was selling her book. She wrote a book. The book would have been a total failure, probably was anyway, although probably sold more recently. Again, this is a woman that wasn't doing well until she came out with this stuff about me. And that's happened to others too, by the way. She's not the only one. But they have the Anderson Cooper tape. And in the Anderson Cooper tape, it's an interview of her. And Cooper says something to the effect, did he rape you? Did he rape you? He was so happy. Oh, did he rape you? And she gave a very good answer for me, but a bad answer for CNN, for Anderson. And he said, we're going to commercial break right now. We're going. Then she came back from commercial break, and she was much more hostile. But this man wouldn't let us use the tape or the proper questions having to do with the tape. Wouldn't let us. The Judge Kaplan, wouldn't let it be used. We wanted to get the outtakes. In other words, what did Anderson Cooper talk to her about during that intermission for a commercial that he called for immediately? Where do you see this? I mean, some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. We're going to commercial break right now. And so what happened is we weren't able to use it. The other thing is we had not one trial, we had 2 trials. Nobody understands why. We asked for a consolidation. And I wanted to show up to the trial, to the first trial. My lawyer, who's not up here, not with us any longer, sir, you should not show up. You're the former president or the president. I don't even know when the trial was, but you're the president of the United States, sir. This is beneath you. I've got this 100%. The dress is negative, but he wasn't able to use it. Sir, it's beneath you to show up. I said, but wouldn't that be bad for a jury? Wouldn't that be sort of bad for a jury if I don't show up? He said, sir, you don't have to show up. I've got this. You shouldn't do it. It's beneath you. It's beneath the office of the president. I understood what he meant by that. And so I didn't show up. And I was found guilty of something that I didn't do with a woman that I have never seen, touched, or in any way was involved with, nor would I want to be. I would not want to be. My people say, please don't say that. I would not want to be involved with her. And that's where we are. So we're appealing it, and people would say it's not a friendly panel based on the appointments, but you'll look that up yourself. But I hope they understand this is the office of the President of the United States, and there has to be fairness shown. Our court system is looking so bad. If you're a Democrat, these are all Democrat-appointed people.
waayahay guud ahaan waliba taxkaaf meerana barnaamijkii amuro caalamka ee warteelka Arlaadi